During the time period where the concentration camps were in full operation, German scientists were trying to perfect the superhuman, and they were using the concentration camp prisoners to do that. They were injecting them into all sorts of things to determine how they can strengthen and insulate their skin without heavy clothing. There's a lot of good information about missing concentration camp prisoners. The Germans would come in, put them on a train, and they would go someplace. They wouldn't go to the gas chambers. They went someplace else. And there's good evidence that they took them down to Antarctica for experiments. Now, jump ahead now. As Tim said, the German government was the first one to set up an expedition inside Antarctica. And that was, I think, in 1936, 1937 time frame. Now we can jump ahead till now.
Yes.
There's so much talk about what has happened down in Antarctica over the years. We have bases down there. Germans have bases, Russians have bases, the Chinese have bases. There's a pyramid down there. Now,
how big is this pyramid?
Ederson claimed it was similar to one in Giza,
okay.
yeah, in the typical Egyptian pyramid. And so the question is, what is this pyramid doing under Antarctica? What is this doing down there? And now that opens even a wider range of discussions on what it could be.
You have anything to add to that, Tim?
There are satellite pictures that actually confirm what Rick just said. And that is not only the only thing that can be seen and seems to appear more and more since the ice is slowly melting in Antarctica. We've also seen that there are strange objects, potentially crafts, appearing as shadowy forms under the ice. From what I know, I can also add that one of potentially the oldest spaceport is said to be found down there. And this is exactly what the Nazis were looking for in the 1940s.
Jump ahead now to the 90s. There was this particular expedition, U.S. expedition that went down there, supposedly to recover some old artifacts that were down there, and they actually found German artifacts, uniforms and so forth. So that pretty much established the fact that the Germans were there at one point, because there was an old base, wooden huts and so forth, and German military uniforms. They didn't really date it, I don't believe. So, but what they also found was a craft. And there's very little you can find out, even on the internet. I mean, I know Linda Howe and others have talked about it, and what it was for. Who built it? Maybe Tim would know.
What do we know? We know that the planet itself goes through certain cycles of civilizations, which means before we have this, human species on the planet, there is some kind of forgotten civilization that goes back to a different version, a previous cycle of this planet. We can see that the magnetic field of Earth has shifted in some way as well. They are all gone. They're all gone. We're talking about in South America about 80 million houses and buildings that could, give home to people. And they haven't ever found skeletons or people there. They're just gone. So there are not only pyramids in Egypt, but they are all over the place on the planet. And the way we understand it is that all these pyramids, they create some kind of electric current, and they connect all these cities around the globe, so that people could, benefit from the energy that came from those pyramids. So since we know that there was some kind of, civilization, people in Antarctica when it was a Mediterranean location, they also have built this pyramid. and they had a spaceport even in order to make direct contact with ETs and different other species as well. And we see clear evidence even today in the ancient places for that. Do we know who that was and how they looked? No, we don't, because they're gone. There's no trace of them. We don't know if they were human or something, or how they looked. We just know what they left and that they were there and that they went on. And this is probably going to happen with this version of this planet as well at some time.
Did it ever put a date on that civilization in Antarctica?
Well, we can clearly define time for about 15,000 years. Mm-hmm. If we go earlier than that, we see that we have too many different observable perspectives on time. Right. So we get some kind of paradox where things don't seem to, fall into place. And even if we go way back, then we see that it's getting illogical even more. So that is a problem. And the way I would define it is that reality itself comes in cycles on this planet, which means that we're probably talking about a version, at least this is the way we speak about it, a previous version of Earth where we cannot put a timestamp on it.